I'm watching my step. You watch your step.
I'm doing fine, don't worry.
Woo!
Bram Schaefer has just finished high school. To celebrate, his father Dennis has brought he and his brother to hunt elk with some friends on Horseshoe Mountain in Montana.
My dad and a friend of mine's dad had decided they just wanted to do one last trip, you know, since we were kind of moving out and getting on with our lives.
Watch out for these potholes.
I'm looking. Eyes like a hawk, son.
Eyes like a mole, Dad.
Your kids are going from boyhood to manhood, and it's part of the transition. Learn from their fathers when their fathers are having fun.
Keep up, Dad.
Keeping up, son, don't you worry.
But after a week of hunting, they still haven't shot anything.
Sure your rifle's shooting straight?
Yep.
You ain't bagged one yet.
Well, just a matter of time, son.
The mountain rises to 10,000 feet out of the wilderness.
There's no roads, it's just trails, and it's just pretty wild.
September is hunting season, for people and for bears.
We've seen lots of bears. It becomes a feeding ground for them once this rifle season starts.
The bears are more dangerous towards fall because they're getting ready for hibernation, so they're scavenging for whatever they can find to fatten up for winter.
Today is the last day of the trip. The men climb almost to the top of the mountain, from where they'll sweep down in a wide line, hoping to find some elk on the way. They don't have much time. A big storm is heading their way.
Okay, guys. Why don't we all spread out, see if we can't flush something out.
Bram goes to the end of the line.
Okay, let's move it.
Last chance, Pop.
Last chance for what, son?
Last chance to bag
Bag
it
an
out.
elk, you said it.
Bram had his own speed, and the way he went, he just went over a ridge, see? So he wasn't in sight of us.
Bram takes off alone, ignoring any possible dangers.
He was very strong physically and strong-willed. He's fearless. What's gonna hurt me?
Bram's orange vest might stop other hunters from shooting at him, but it also makes him more visible to predators. But Bram's a high school football star, bold and brash.
I was a pretty cocky kid. I didn't worry too much about anything. You know, I was 18, bulletproof. I walked for quite a ways and wasn't seeing much. You know, some elk sign on the ground and stuff, but nothing really to suggest anything was around. We were kind of supposed to stay within earshot of each other, but they were up on the top of the mountain and I was off kind of coming around the side, a little lower.
Now a few hundred yards away from his dad and the other hunters, Bram is suddenly aware that the forest is too quiet.
I kind of got a weird feeling about then, and there wasn't hardly a noise. You know, there weren't no birds chirping or ground squirrels running around or anything. And there must be something around here keeping the birds quiet, you know, a predator of some sort around. Kind of made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I hollered. She didn't slow down. My next thought was get the hell out of the way. I was just freaking out. Next thing I know, she's sitting there with her head in my lap, just huffing at me. I was very terrified. I thought to myself, you need to either eat me or get off of me. My temper was starting to get the better of me. So I reached up and punched her in the nose. I come back with my other hand, and she bit through my thumb. And I got to looking around, trying to find my gun. She was sitting on it with her hind legs. Just picked me up and shook me like a puppy with a sock. It felt like vice on your leg. And then I thought to myself, oh, you're dead right there. When she got done shaking my leg, she just kind of dropped me. I think she was just gonna see if she'd done enough damage that she could just leave me there.
The moment he moves, the bear attacks again. His right thigh has been ripped from the bone.
My upper thigh was just shredded. You could see the artery in there just pulsing, and then just big slabs of meat just kind of hanging loose. I pulled the meat back up and kind of laid it back in the hole. I wrapped my hunter's orange vest around the wound and kind of tried to tourniquet it a little bit. It hurt pretty bad when I pulled it down tight. First thing, I sat there and I shot 3 shots like they teach you in hunter safety, and it's, you know, it's supposed to be the universal signal that I need help. Somebody's supposed to come find you.
Come on! Damn! Help!
When no one responds to his distress signal, Bram's hopes of being rescued begin to fade.
And I sat there for maybe 10 minutes thinking, you're an idiot. Nobody's gonna come get you. You hear 3 shots all the time. You never go look for anybody. So I had to decide what I was gonna do. And I just decided I better get up and get going.
But walking with such terrible injuries is nearly impossible. Bram must get off the mountain quickly. If he doesn't get help soon, his injuries will kill him.
Help!
I was pretty pissed off at the world. I hollered and stayed mad as I could for quite a while.
Bram's anger is is fueling the adrenaline that's pumping through his system. It's the only thing fighting the pain and keeping him alive.
I think the things that kept me going were just willpower and a good, healthy anger base.
But Bram's leg is so badly mauled that walking down the steep mountain slope is impossible. With every fall, Bram risks tearing the exposed artery in his leg. If it bursts, he'll bleed to death in minutes. Alone and on the wrong side of the mountain, Bram begins to realize how slim his chances of survival are.
I was starting to think probably wasn't going to make it.
I flashed the light and I hit something up in the woods, but it was a red glow. And bears' eyes are red, I'm thinking, when they see him with the flashlight. I said, Bryce, the bear's right on him. Let's go. Let's get up there.
Oh, God.
Help me, please!
I'm at the height of my adrenaline. I have my pistol cocked, and I get down below where this guy is standing. He's just shaking like crazy, and steam is rolling off of him.
Don't move! Stay where you are! I'm coming! Please. Where's the bear?
Bear's dead! My mind's really racing. I don't know what to do with hurt people.
You could just kind of see the color leaving his face. But, you know, he never really acted panicky or anything around me.
Even though he looked hideous to me, in my mind I'm thinking, reassure him that he's gonna be okay.
What's your name, son? Bram. Okay, Bram. Now we're gonna get you off this mountain, okay? Get you back down to camp, all right?
God, I kept saying, Bruce, don't freak out. You gotta help this guy. There's nobody else around. Nobody's gonna help him but you.
All right. Here.
My concern was to get him to safety.
Hold this too. Here. Okay, you ready? All right, here we go.
Bryce was probably about 19 years old.
Oh, have you got him, Dad?
I was in pretty good shape. I was a painting guy. I was up and down ladders all the time, carrying stuff that requires a lot of strength. I said, I can do this.
It's chewed up really bad. I don't know if he's gonna make it. I need some help. It's okay, I'm a doctor. You're a doctor?
By an extraordinary stroke of luck, Andy Wolf is a doctor with specialist training in shock trauma.
What's your name?
It doesn't take him long to see how serious Bram's condition is.
He was going into shock. Shock kills people.
Come on now, stay awake, son. The doctor's gonna look at your leg now. Just take a second, and we'll get you back home. Stay awake now.
When I examined this thigh area, I reached my hand up in there, and my heart just dropped. I could feel his femoral artery just like a garden hose. And right then and there, I thought, this kid's can either lose his leg or his life. We're gonna be lucky if we save his life.
You're gonna be okay, son. You're gonna be okay.
Andy was, you know, checking my leg out. And he looks up at me and says, "Oh, you'll be all right." I said, "Yeah, that's what they say in the movies, just where the guy tips over."
Stop. Bram, come on now. That's it. Almost home.
If we don't lose this kid from loss of blood, we could lose him from shock.
Come on, give me your hand.
If that artery goes and I don't get it stopped, we're gonna lose him from that artery bursting. We needed to get him off that mountain to save his life.
The camp is only a mile away from where Bram was attacked by the bear. It's taken him nearly 4 hours to get there.
We gotta really save his life. We gotta take care of him.
Yeah, we're gonna need some water.
I'd lost most of my adrenaline, so I was starting to feel more, and I was thinking about, you know, you could possibly die.
Andy has managed to keep Bram alive so far. But now, the doctor spots a new danger threatening to kill him. Gas gangrene. Gas gangrene is a deadly poison produced by bacteria trapped in infected tissue. It destroys flesh, blood cells, and blood vessels.
Gas gangrene can travel 6 inches in an hour. If Bram's femoral artery was being attacked by bacteria, it would burst. Bram was in serious trouble at this point. He could very easily be dead by morning.
How you feeling, Bram?
I was laying there thinking that, you know, I could lose my leg, and the thought of dying was still there, yeah. I mean, I knew I was in bad shape.
Andy knows that the rapidly advancing gangrene will kill Bram if he doesn't get to a hospital fast.
Stay awake, son.
I felt very impotent. It was just every moment wish that the sunlight would come. We'd hear a helicopter.
We stayed up the whole night. We took turns looking at his wounds, changing his bandage, waiting for help to come.
But help is a long way away, and time is running out for Bram. Bruce and Andy don't know how much longer he'll survive.
Stay awake, Bram.
Just at daybreak, we heard the chopping noise of the helicopter coming.
You hear that, Bram? You hear that?
I was pretty excited when I heard that helicopter coming in.
I've never been so happy in my life as to hear rotor blades.
Help is on its way.
I was just relieved. You know, I was happy because I thought, wow, he's going to be okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh! That's it, Bram. That's it. Watch his head.
With Bram on his way to hospital, Bruce sends one of his party to find Bram's father.
Bram!
Dennis has been searching since first light.
Our plan was to go exactly where we had all left off the day before, and work our way down the mountain. If we found him, we were to shoot 3 shots and then shoot the 4th round. So then you would know that somebody had found him alive. Jubilation. Tears run down my face, and we're literally running down the mountain. You're just so happy he was alive.
It took 18 days for the doctors at Billings Hospital to save Bram's life. Miraculously, they also saved his leg.
I was pretty happy to see it when I woke up, that's for sure.
I feel very grateful for all the angels on the mountain, Bruce and his boy and Doc Wolf. Those people really done us a great, great favor by taking care of our son.
I'm not a hero. I just did what I had to do. I just know that I did the right thing. And to this day, I care about him a lot, more than he thinks I do.
Ken Hilderbrand is packing for a solo trip into the Canadian Rockies in the depths of winter. And he knows it pays to leave nothing to chance.
some guys on the rescue squad and that call me Mr. Gadget because they always thought that I carried too much. And they used to always say, well, if we need to go out on a rescue, we always want to be paired up with Ken.
Yeah, no, I'm going up to Bob Creek to collect some traps. But, you know, I should be back in time, give or take an hour or 3.
The survival expert regularly heads into the mountains alone and makes no firm plans about his return with his family and friends.
Well, listen, if I don't show, we'll do it when Lil's back, okay?
Ken is a registered animal trapper, and this trip is to check up on beaver traps that he set the day before.
We trap to keep a good, healthy population of animals. And beavers are a rodent. The goal is to try and keep beavers from overpopulating.
Ken loves the great outdoors, and nothing stops him from enjoying this vast wilderness, not even his disabled leg.
I had polio. I had over 20 operations when I was a child. I mean, I was never supposed to walk. I threw the braces away and everything else, and I said, I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna do whatever normal people do.
Getting around this remote region is a real challenge, and Ken's trusty steed is his 4-wheel quad bike.
All of a sudden, I felt this sharp pain in the eye, and I blinked, and I felt like a piece of grass in my eye, and the second I let go of my handlebars, I grabbed a hold of this piece of grass. And the bike started going up and over. I was on the way down, and I could feel the bike was following me over. It's just that there was nothing I could do. It felt to me like I was fast enough that I was getting out of the way, but then, wham, it was so fast. It just knocked me right face first into the dirt. And then I felt this excruciating pain in my leg. I could feel my foot. I could feel my ankle just totally dislocating and the bones were breaking. I almost threw up just from the pain. The steel rack rammed me in the smaller part of the back and drove me down and knocked the wind out of me. The pain was from my ankle and in the calf of my leg. I couldn't push and lift myself enough to move the bike. No matter how I tried to move my legs, I couldn't.
The heavily laden quad has pinned Ken to the ground in the middle of nowhere. As a paramedic with the local rescue unit, Ken's first instinct is to try to assess the severity of his injuries.
I took my pulse. My pulse was at 160. It was bounding. I could feel, so my blood pressure must have been up high because I could really feel my pulse. My skin was pale. If I pinched it, it was slow to come back to normal. It took 5 seconds for my color to go back in my finger, so I knew that I was in shock. Pain and the anxiety was causing me to make my heart rate go up. So I knew I had to slow myself down so that I could rationalize, I could think properly.
Ken learned how to deal with pain as a child, fighting polio.
I kind of mentally block it out. It's amazing how much pain I can actually block out.
Ken cannot reach his legs, which took the full impact of the crash, and he can only imagine the kind of damage that's been done.
My first assumption was that, yes, I dislocated my ankle for sure, possibly crushed it. I thought that maybe I had done a lot of damage to my right knee because it hurt like hell. My polio leg is not very big. I can actually put my hand around it like this. When it smashed down into that ground, I thought for sure that knee was done.
The weight of Ken's quad bike and survival gear exerts enormous pressure on his injured legs, causing excruciating pain. It crushes his good right leg against his weaker polio leg, cutting off the circulation from his calf to his foot. Ken knows that to avoid permanent damage, he needs to act fast.
My first reaction was, I need to get out from underneath the quad, even if I've broken my leg. So I looked around and tried to see if there's any sticks or anything I could grab.
All of Ken's gear is still strapped to the quad. Only his axe has fallen clear during the crash. But it's tantalizingly just out of reach. Ken's survival instinct kicks in.
I always carry this fire starter around my neck and a compass on a string.
Getting his hands on the axe could mean the difference between life and death. To Ken, the axe is his only means of escape.
It took me several tries or more to finally catch the butt of the axe handle. I thought right away, well, maybe I can use my axe as a leverage to push the quad off of me.
But, trapped face down, it's impossible for Ken to get enough leverage on the axe handle to lift the quad.
Now I think, okay, I'm stuck here. I'm actually trapped. But when you're in that situation, you got to try something, and if that don't work, you got to try something else. I was thinking, well, if I can reduce the weight on the quad, maybe I'll have a better chance of getting out from underneath it.
But every strike causes agonizing pain to Ken's injured body as he tries to knock the heavy gear from the quad. Darkness is closing in. The Rockies at night are deadly, especially in winter when the temperatures can plummet to 20 below. Freezing cold winds rush down off the mountains, and these howling gusts play tricks with Ken's mind.
I hear something and I stop. Now, am I really hearing that or am I not hearing that? In fact, I was.
Incredibly, Ken has crashed his quad just half a mile away from a farmer's house. If somebody would just hear his cries, his ordeal would be over.
When I first heard the dogs, it gave me a little bit of spark of hope. Well, maybe I won't have to spend the night after all.
Ken's prepared for every eventuality. He even carries a whistle around his neck, which he uses to attract attention.
The dogs, of course, because they have so much better hearing than a human, they could hear me.
But But his distress calls are drowned out by the high winds and go unheard by human ear.
Over here!
I heard him going in and out of the house a few times.
Hey! Over here!
Help was so close, but yet so far away.
It's another devastating blow for Ken. And to make matters even worse, all of the gear and supplies that he's bought that could keep him alive are tied to his bike, completely out of reach.
What I had on my quad, I could have survived for a month, no problem. I had water, I had a hot coffee in it, my first aid kit, of course, and a sleeping bag that's good for 40 below.
Without all this life-saving equipment, Ken faces the ultimate test of his survival skills. The temperature. If Ken skins one of the dead beavers, he might be able to slide its fur underneath his body for insulation. But there's a danger the smell might also attract predators. And with his axe broken, he's powerless to fight them off.
I know the possibilities of cougars or any predator coming around is greater every hour that I stay there. Had I been attacked by a cougar, my chances would have been 0.
Ken knows without skinning the animal, he will die. There's little chance of rescue soon. His family aren't expecting him home for days, and even his dinner plans were tentative.
But listen, if I don't show, we'll come when Lil's back.
Ken decides the rewards of skinning the beaver outweigh the risk of attracting predators.
I put the hide side down and the fur side up, so that made my stomach a lot warmer.
The temperatures continue to drop, and it's another 8 hours until sunrise. The beaver's pelt gives him some temporary relief, but at a cost. The smell of fresh carcass could be carried for miles around, with predators soon picking up on the scent. He's still covered in the scent of fresh meat, and the dangers of night threaten again.
I thought that I heard something move. And I seen a couple of coyotes off on the right.
Ken's biggest fear has been realized. The scent of the skinned beaver has attracted some unwelcome visitors. Even from a distance, the coyotes can see that Ken is trapped and can't move.
Coyotes can be unpredictable. It's not the first time that they have attacked humans. When I heard coyotes messing around, I thought there was a possibility that they might get more aggressive.
My soul, my Savior, God to thee, how great thou art.
I got a couple of rocks, and I've got the broken axe handle laying there. I thought, how long that would last, who knows?
Ken has already been trapped for over 30 hours. His survival training has kept him alive, but the paramedic realizes that parts of his body are already dying. The constant pressure of the quad's wheel and the swelling in his right leg is causing serious nerve and tissue damage. Ken knows that even if he is found now, his good leg might not survive.
During the night, it got to a point where it was like your foot goes to sleep and you get all those needles and pins going through it. I figured, well, my foot is beyond saving now, for sure.
The hopelessness of his situation starts to take its toll.
We just finished celebrating my granddaughter's birthday. I was thinking about that quite a bit because my daughter had videoed me dancing with my grandkids. That's probably the last time I'll dance with them. I'll be missing out.
Now the coyotes have a taste for blood, and Ken fears he is next on the menu.
What's next? Are they going to get more aggressive?
The frenzy of noise seems to attract the attention of the dogs in the nearby farmhouse. But once again, high winds muffle the noise from human ears.
Perhaps if he would have let one of his dogs go, maybe they would have come to me.
The noise seems to scare off the coyotes for now.
For the full 4 days I never slept. I consciously made sure that I kept myself awake because I know from experience the wind, the cold could kill me easily. My body was telling me it was a downward slide. My mental alertness wasn't there. My coordination wasn't as good as it could have been. So I knew all those things were telling me that my body is shutting down more all the time. For sure. My family was my primary focus. I can deal with whatever comes along. It's how can they deal with it? You know, how will it affect them? I thought that if I didn't make it, maybe while I still got my faculties together and I'm still able to write a message, I should write a message to them, just in case. Well, I told them I was sorry. And I loved them. I took my glasses off and I laid them in front of me, and I thought that, well, maybe, you know, just maybe I could get a little bit of rest. Finally, I actually closed my eyes.
On the fourth day of battling pain and fear, of forcing himself to stay awake, to fend off dangerous coyotes and hypothermia, Ken finally lets go.
I just looked over and I saw the quad. And it looked like somebody underneath it.
Oscar, come here.
I'm on search and rescue, and about a year earlier, we'd had a search. We'd been looking for a missing hunter on a quad. We found this fellow, and he was underneath the quad, and he was dead.
Oscar. Oscar, Oscar, Oscar.
It was exactly the same scene. I figured there was probably somebody pinned under there that was probably dead.
I'd heard something, and is my mind playing tricks on me, or is this real?
Are you all right?
Did I go to sleep? Am I dreaming, or? I thought I was seeing things. I thought I was hallucinating. I said, oh boy, you know, this is getting really severe. Is it real?
What's your name?
Ken Hilderbrand.
I felt blessed. I felt lucky to be alive. I don't have to say goodbye to my family. The relief of like when they lifted the quad off of me, it was fantastic. You know, I just can't describe how great it felt, but it was short-lived.
Come on.
I tried to move my legs, and then I realized that I couldn't move my legs.
When he first told me that he'd been there for 4 days and 3 nights, I didn't believe it. He was very calm. He was very businesslike. He knew what he had to do. He thought his legs, or at least one leg, was broken.
What were you doing out here?
That was probably a place where the quad wheel was sitting on his leg and the flesh was frozen.
I'm just gonna put this on.
You've done that before.
I knew that for 2 days I didn't go to the bathroom anymore. I knew that, you know, I could have liver damage, I could have kidney damage.
I think the reason that Ken survived is he's tough. He's one tough dude.
Roy has to get Ken to hospital as soon as possible.
I tried to be as careful as possible driving out of there. It was pretty rough. There was no road. It was just up the bottom of the valley. And his leg was starting to hurt him.
It was probably hitting the bumps and stuff where I felt circulation going into parts of my legs and that I could actually feel. And it's ironically that the pain actually felt good. I don't know how to explain it. It just, I wasn't down, but I wasn't, you know, jumping for joy like you think a person might. Because I knew I was still alive, but I knew I had a ways to go yet before I was out of the woods. How far, I wasn't sure. And I knew I wouldn't know until I was in the hospital